Good afternoon and welcome, everybody. I hope everybody can hear me okay. It looks like we have almost a good bit of the registered participants joining. We have more than 50 folks with us. My name is Yvette Martinez. I'm a proud graduate of Rutgers and also serve as the Senior Director of Alumni Volunteer Engagement, a university-wide role with the RUAA. It's wonderful to have you join us today for this program. Thank you for taking the time. This program is specifically designed to inform and connect you as Rutgers' most engaged alumni volunteer leaders. In the first part of the program, you'll hear from staff and volunteer leadership. And for those of you who plan to join the breakout sessions at about 4:45, your staff partners look forward to sharing additional information that is most relevant to charter group leaders and fostering a peer-to-peer conversation among them. To ensure that we all have a pleasant participation experience, all attendees have been placed on mute with videos off for the duration of this main session with our speakers. For the breakout rooms, you'll be able to unmute yourself and turn your video on to participate in the open conversation with alumni and staff partners. If you have questions for the main session speakers, please at any time send them via the chat option at the bottom of your screen throughout the presentation, and we'll get to as many questions as we can, focusing on trends and themes that arise. We know, we at Rutgers know that your work as volunteers breathes life into Rutgers. You and fellow volunteers give dollars and time in many ways, by mentoring students and young alumni, by speaking as industry experts, which I know many of you do, serving as pipeline and resources for assisting with professional development, internship, job opportunities. Our success in building community hinges on increased engagement of our alumni. And this is no easy task, as many of you know, because everything's changing. Everything is in flux. Alumni are busier than ever and more stressed and even distracted than ever. But when inspired, alumni mobilize and make their influence felt. So our challenge with you as the very best alumni volunteer leaders of this great university is, how do you foster greater alumni engagement among your networks? Think about that as we hear from our speakers today, and know that we're here to support you. Your staff partners and I are making it a priority to keep you in the know. We want to hear your feedback and improve and develop tools and benefits that are most helpful to build meaningful alumni connections. There will be more programs like this, as well as on-demand digital resources on topics that have been identified by volunteers and staff as being of most interest and value, including diversity, equity, and inclusion topics that position us to thrive across difference, strategic program planning, leadership, and much more. While I look forward to sharing more with you about volunteer support resources as they're rolled out, today we focus on the topic of philanthropy broadly, and to build on the momentum of previous years. Rutgers Giving Day 2020 was unique indeed, yet raised a total of $1.94 million. And alumni collectively donated more than 71% of that total dollar amount. Pretty impressive and incredibly impactful for Rutgers and its students. It's now my pleasure to introduce our first speaker, Josh Harriman. Josh serves as Vice President for Alumni Engagement, Annual Giving, and Advancement Communications for the Rutgers University Foundation. He came to us from the Ohio State University, and we were lucky enough to have him at the helm as our AVP of Alumni Engagement prior. Welcome, Josh, and thank you for being part of this program.
Thank you so much, Yvette. It's great to be here with everybody, and it's good to see a lot of familiar names in the participant list. I know it's hard to believe that we've been in this remote world for almost an entire year now in just a few days. But fear not, as proud alumni, I'm sure that you are abreast of all the great work that your alma mater is doing. And although the world's been turned upside down, there's plenty of things to be proud of at Rutgers. Rutgers has been leading in our fight against COVID-19. Faculty and researchers here developed the groundbreaking COVID-19 saliva test created by the late Andrew Brooks and team, which received emergency approval from the FDA and has been administered more than 5 million times and counting. Rutgers principal investigators led vaccine clinical trials for the Moderna and Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccines, and the RUAA partnered with the researchers to participate in the clinical trials. Rutgers has been responsive to a community in crisis. Our brave frontline workers pivoted to serve over 90,000 phone calls fielded by the New Jersey COVID-19 hotline. The dental school converted clinics to support overflow of COVID-19 hospital patients. And Rutgers University Camden nursing faculty and students volunteer en masse to administer thousands of COVID-19 vaccinations. As you're aware, diversity, equity, and inclusion is a renewed focus of the institution, and it's an integral part of the university's central leadership with the Office of the Senior Vice President for Equity, led by Dr. Anna Branch, who provides accountability as we build a better Rutgers through diversity. A university-wide diversity strategic planning toolkit has been developed that will guide the process across chancellor-led units and share tools to support the work. A diversity strategic planning assessment survey has been launched to assess and reflect on where we are now and what needs to change. We are learning, but meanwhile, we will not sit by on the sidelines. We'll engage with all of you and ask you to be partners with us in building the university of our aspirations. For the RUAA, this will be an ongoing focus for us in the coming years as we work to engage more alumni and alumni who span all aspects of the world, as well as of our alumni body. On the sustainability front, Rutgers continues to lead the work and most recently announced that the university will divest from fossil fuel investments following approval yesterday by the university's Board of Governors and Board of Trustees. This is an expression of institutional values and aligns with the university's goal of carbon neutrality, achieving net zero carbon dioxide emissions by reducing and balancing carbon emissions. There's so much to evoke pride for the academic, health, and research powerhouse that is your alma mater. As we work together to connect alumni to each other and to Rutgers, know that we're committed to supporting your efforts as volunteers, especially when aligned with university priorities. Staff partners are asking, listening, and coaching. Volunteer resources, trainings, and benefits are being reviewed and improved. Your role as volunteers is incredibly crucial to the health of the university. Thank you for continuing to inspire Scarlet Pride, particularly through these unbelievable times. This year has been like any other, and I know as volunteers, you've taken your volunteer responsibilities on top of everything else that you have to do in your daily lives. Your leadership is critical to the institution's success, and we are forever grateful. We value you and appreciate you and look forward to continuing to work with you in the coming year. And that being said, I'm honored to partner with two incredible volunteers here today with us. It is my pleasure to introduce Greg Bedard, who serves as the chair of the RUAA Board of Directors and is vice president and chief of staff at Prudential. Greg is a Rutgers College graduate, 1997, and a Rutgers Business School graduate, 2003. And Amanda Evakozia, who serves as the vice chair of the RUAA Board of Directors and is a nonprofit leader and changemaker, is the founder and CEO of the GEM Project. Thank you. Amanda is a Newark College of Arts and Sciences graduate, 2008. So thank you both so much for being here today and sharing some thoughts and insight and wisdom from your own experience as volunteers, but also as we think about the work that our alumni volunteers are doing in philanthropy. So appreciate it. Yes. And I apologize because the sun is coming in through my blinds here, but I found my light, so it's okay. But thank you, Greg and Amanda.
Thank you.
Hey, Josh, you are our light, so it goes both ways.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I keep trying to move, but the sun is shifting. So, well, thank you for joining. You two have been very involved with Rutgers as alumni volunteers in many different ways. And we're thrilled to have you here to talk with us a little bit about what you see in the alumni leader space and as alumni volunteers. So could you just talk to us a little bit about what you see the value of alumni volunteers bringing to the institution, and specifically the impact that alumni volunteers can have in fostering a culture of giving and advocacy for the institution?
Definitely, Josh. First, I just want to start by saying that our Rutgers alumni, as well as current students, are truly the heartbeat of Rutgers, and the power of story is great. And having known that, as an alum, and knowing how incredible our shared stories are, it only can be seen as a great advocacy tool. So as alumni leaders, we can often think about having shared experiences and being able to connect with each other, as well as current students in many aspects of our lives. And by connecting with stories, especially right now in this virtual environment, we can even help amplify what our needs are as alum, as a university, as people who have this shared connection, and to help advocate for philanthropy, advocate for the needs that are that drive Rutgers forward and to be best in class as a university.
You know, what happens is when Amanda goes first, she's a tough act to follow. Further to what Amanda said, but actually before I supplement Amanda's initial thoughts, I just want to thank everyone for joining us today as well. On behalf of the board of directors for the RUAA, see so many familiar faces here, familiar names here for the most part. And it's actually energizing working from home, doing this with you from home, to know that we're all here together. Also, I just want to say, Josh, by the way, you mentioned about a year's gone by. As you said it, it really struck me. A year ago, right now, my father and I would have been in Indianapolis. I think tip-off would have been about right now, actually. It was a Wednesday, I think. Now our team's going to be in Indianapolis tomorrow, playing Indiana, and, you know, go RU, we're going to do all right, but that's an aside. Anyhow, you know, what does it mean to me to be an alum, and why is it so special to be with everyone here today? For all of us, I think what we have in common is our Rutgers experience, starting with our Rutgers student experience. And for me, my involvement now on the board with the RUAA, it all comes from that initial kind of point of origin. And it's so special to be here. And we're here to talk about philanthropy, and we'll talk more about that. I think from my perspective, when it comes to philanthropy, just the two initial things I would say are, it starts with that, with thinking about and reflecting upon my experience as a Rutgers student, and wanting to help every student who I can to have their experience as a Rutgers student. The thought that's connected to that is each student's need and ability to have that experience, particularly from the financial perspective. I reflect upon my own, and I recall my own personal financial student need at that time. Sure, helped having a little extra help, you know, along the way, academic scholarships and whatnot along the way. And so, you know, since my first paycheck, I've always hoped to be able to give back in some way, so others can have that experience and have that need met. So those are my initial thoughts. Look forward to continuing the conversation.
Thank you both. You know, philanthropy is so important as we think about the work that we do to help pay it forward, right, for the current generation of students. And Amanda, I loved what you said about the importance of storytelling, right, of not just the story of the university, but the story of the impact of what on students' lives, on faculty members' lives, right? You look at so much of what's transpired over the course of the past year, and so many people have been left wanting and needing. And to look back at the numbers that Yvette shared, with 71% of our Giving Day support coming from alumni donors, right? That's incredibly powerful when you think about this incredibly turbulent time that we were getting ready. Greg, I remember a year ago, I was supposed to be at Newark Airport boarding a flight, was like, I'm not coming to Indy because the tournament's canceled, you know, to then having Giving Day in just a couple of weeks, and we rescheduled that. But, you know, as we think about the impact that we have on students and on the university, can you share some about why that's important to each of you, where your own catalyst was in that? Greg, you touched a little bit on this with, you know, your own undergraduate experience and the needs that you had, but I'd be interested in hearing more of that, or Amanda, if there's anything you want to share about that.
Yes, definitely. So I guess my journey through philanthropy started as a student at Rutgers, and it started in a very organic way, first through volunteering, right? And oftentimes a lot of people may not consider volunteering being connected to philanthropy, but that starts with knowing how to invest into your community. And so I started with that in mind. And over time, I found that philanthropy in and of itself is such a critical element to be able to sustain a lot of the great work that we do as a community at Rutgers. I know that many of us can possibly think back to a particular person or a particular program at Rutgers that may have expanded their worldview. And we do that in so many different ways, not just in like the athletics, but in academia. There's so much that we have done, even with the groundbreaking research, with what's happening now in this pandemic. And none of that can be underestimated. And I view now philanthropy being a fuel for change. It is a fuel to continue the already good work that we're doing. It's a fuel to continue the work that a lot of our great, wonderful alumni leaders do each and every day. And to be able to continue to be able to see great gains in research, to see great gains in our wonderful pre-college programs, and also creating that sense of community and just a sense of belonging. We need champions like ourselves as alumni leaders. We need to continue to, we're on the front line, being able to connect with a lot of the current students, as well as our fellow members. And so it's truly a fuel. And in order for us to push forward, we have to invest, and we have to invest in different ways. And so I just see it as a lifeline for our work here at Rutgers.
Very, very well said. I would just add, I think it's a very personal thing, right? So from my perspective, everyone probably already gets the sense from what I said earlier. Let me say it this way. I recall earlier in my tenure on the board for the RUAA, I remember Josh Neffen-Kessler saying once, you can kind of give to what's important to you kind of through Rutgers. I'm not getting those words exactly right, but it's kind of like giving to what's important to you through the university, because there's so many different ways you can give to the university in a way it's aligned with your own values. It's a very personal thing for myself. It all comes back to the students. Again, aligned with what I was saying earlier. So probably from two perspectives. One, there are certain things that since my student days, I've been affiliated with certain organizations, certain schools. Undergrad in New Brunswick, was a business school student up at Newark. I know I got Gabby and Jake here on the call today. So I got to call out Cap and Skull, which that's the particular charter group for which I came into that charter group and through my student experience back in the day, my senior year. They're doing a great job of leading that organization, by the way, Gabby and Jake. I find myself from a very personal perspective wanting to give to the organizations and the specific parts of the university that have really helped me, helped me in my own development as a young man that I've maintained a close connection with. And then more generally, we're going to talk about the Scarlet Promise Grants program in a little while, a very important program and a mechanism more generally to meet the significant student financial need that exists, perhaps even more than ever with the last year and everything. And so that's close to my heart. And, we'll talk more about that in a little while, but that's how I think about it. For everyone, it's very personal. I think the good thing is, we're all Rutgers alum here and we're all here today. And I think we all are like-minded and like-hearted also in so many ways. And I know I'm kind of preaching to the choir here, but that's how I think about it. And I'm sure folks can relate with that. And those are my thoughts.
Thanks, Greg. So you and Amanda, great perspective to share. You mentioned Promise Grants, Greg, and that's been front and center for the past year. But it's actually the Board of Trustees has been working on this effort for the past few years, and shifting from Rutgers Assistance Grants to Scarlet Promise Grants, excuse me, committed to raising $3 million for the endowment. And then President Jonathan Holloway started, and he said, thank you, that's awesome. And I am committing to raising $10 million total. And with that, prior to President Holloway, you and I met with some Board of Trustee members to talk about how the RUAA can support this. So, the Scarlet Promise Grants help students across the university. There are student emergency funds that are CLU specific, but these are grants. They are not scholarships, but they are awarded to students in need, right? Financial need that goes above and beyond what a scholarship might. So can you talk a little bit just about the impact you're seeing with these funds, why it was so important to have the RUAA involved in this and have volunteers from all the charter groups involved in this as well, because many of our groups are philanthropic, many of our members are philanthropic, many other people on this call. But what was it to you that made you say, this is something that I think the RUAA can support and be a part of shaping the future of Rutgers?
Yeah, definitely, Josh. One thing to drive home is that these Scarlet Promise Grants really does close the gap between federal and state aid. And the reason why, I know people personally and not so personally who have benefited from these grants. These grants, because they're need-based, they account for the issues that may happen on your everyday lives, that could happen to anyone, that could kind of like either become a barrier from a student to actually complete a degree or complete or continue on at Rutgers. And it's the reason why is that because it could happen with anyone. And so by being able to invest in Scarlet Promise Grants, we are investing in futures. We are allowing our students to be able to go through Rutgers with a little bit less weight, a little bit less barriers that they're going to come across. And it's also an opportunity to be able to support people and meet them where they're at. It's a truly, truly great program. I know several students and also now alum who have benefited from these grants when they have had like unforeseen circumstances that happened personally with them and their families, especially now in this state of uncertainty that we're experiencing with the pandemic. It only just provides additional support for our students in a very challenging and very tenuous time that we're all experiencing in different ways. So I'm really grateful for the Scarlet Promise Grants and the fact that it is a grant that is not something that our students have to actually pay back, but this is something that they could actually be able to see as a form of aid. And I just want to also just to drive home a few other things about the Scarlet Promise Grants. It helps tomorrow's leaders to fulfill their potential. It offers them essentials to aids for Rutgers education that they would have otherwise thought it was impossible. In 2019 alone, 11,000 of our students were helped by the grants, totaling over 33 million. And that is just truly, truly magnificent.
Thank you, Amanda. The scope is remarkable and the aid that the Promise Grants provide. So thank you for that, Amanda. Greg, please go ahead.
I was just going to comment. I think we can all see Amanda's passion for the program come through, right? I share that passion as well. I just want to comment, that the board for the RUAA, I think Josh, you may have said it before, but just in case, we're all in. We are all in. With this program, everyone's committed to supporting it. The same with the governing boards for the university. We have some great momentum here. we already have some great outcomes. We're just looking to build upon it. We have Giving Day coming up here in a couple weeks' time. We just want to kind of make the most of the moment. I think everyone here understands, what we're looking to, what we aspire to achieve. Everyone here, I think, is very committed to the university already. Wouldn't it be great if we can all, do what we can to help the students who need it the most? That's what we're here to speak with you all about today, and just want to thank everyone for giving that your consideration. And we'll keep on marching ahead.
Thank you, Greg. It's been great hearing from the two of you to learn about your commitment to the philanthropy of Rutgers and to how you can help students. So appreciate that you took some time with us today. Greg, as you mentioned, the RUAA board has committed to 100% participation to support Promise Grants this year with the other governing boards of the university. So appreciate that the RUAA board is leading that effort. And yes, we hope that members of the ALC and charter group members will support this effort as well by making a gift on Giving Day on March 24th, serving as Giving Day ambassadors and sharing about Giving Day and about Promise Grants through your network. So what I'd like to do now is take a moment to introduce our next speaker, who's going to talk a little bit more about Giving Day and who's going to talk more about the role that our alumni volunteers can play. But it's my pleasure now to introduce Kyle Post, who is doing the dog and pony show of the trainings right now leading up to Giving Day. This is the second time I've seen the training with Kyle today. But Kyle serves as our director of crowdfunding and digital fundraising at the Rutgers University Foundation. And Kyle, I'm going to go on mute and turn off my camera, but I'm going to turn it over to you to share a little bit about Giving Day and the role that our wonderful volunteers can play. Thanks for being here.
All right, thanks a lot, Josh. I appreciate it. So everyone, I'm here to talk about Rutgers Giving Day. And as Greg said before, it is 2 weeks away. So on March 24th, we are going to have Rutgers Giving Day. And that's the day we want everybody at the Rutgers community to come together to help Rutgers help better the world. And it's a great initiative. It's a great thing that's been happening this is our 6th year now. And throughout the 6 years, we've done some amazing things, including we've created senses of urgency within people because it's a one-day event where people are like, I have to make a gift. If I want to be a part of Rutgers Giving Day, I can make I make the gift today in order to be a part of it. I can make it in that 24-hour period. So from midnight to midnight, that's when you want to make your gift. It also creates a yearly reminder. Now that we've been doing this for to our 6th year. People are like, well, I made a gift last year. I made a gift the year before that on Rutgers Giving Day. I'm reminded that I can make my gift today. And it impacts a lot of areas across Rutgers. There's all sorts of different great initiatives and great things, including talking about the Scarlet Promise Grants that are impacted and that rally support on Rutgers Giving Day. And it's a great way for some of these areas to get showcased in ways that they weren't able to get showcased before. So just a little bit of an idea of what has happened in the past with Rutgers Giving Day. Since fiscal year 2016, Rutgers Giving Day has raised $7 million for many different areas across Rutgers in support of students and programs and research. It's made a real positive impact on the Rutgers community. It's created opportunities for people and for organizations and for funds that weren't there prior. And it's created this pay it forward mentality because we've seen students that were freshmen when the Rutgers Giving Day started who have now graduated and said, I've seen what Rutgers Giving Day has done. I want to pay it forward. And it continues to go through as we continue on a generation after year year with the different students going through. So really what we're here to talk about mostly is the ambassador roles here for Rutgers Giving Day. And as all of you have signed to be ambassadors for this, there's 3 things within the peer-to-peer outreach, which is vital to Rutgers Giving Day that we're really looking to do. And that peer-to-peer outreach is in social media and text and email. We're looking to expand the audience using as many people to get the message out there to their networks as possible. We're looking to build trust and let them know that, hey, the things that we're reaching out to you about, about the Scarlet Promise Grants and Dow Fund. This is an amazing thing that can make a lot of impact for a lot of people. So like you trust me to give something to you that it actually makes a difference and makes an impact. And in terms of personal buy-in, you're buying into it, you're sharing it with them, you're supporting it, and you're buying in, so they know, the people you're reaching out to, they know that you have a personal buy-in, so they're going to buy in as well. So the website for Rutgers Giving Day is givingday.rutgers.edu. I'm going to place that into the chat if anybody wants to take a look at that. And currently, right now, today we have the tiles, the different programs and funds that are up there that you can see, along with a lot of other great things. Most of you will be asked to reach out about the Scarlet Promise Grants Endowed Fund, or about some areas at Rutgers that you are passionate about. There are a few charter groups that have decided to put up their own funds onto the page, and I think the Rutgers Club of New York City, RUAA, and the Cap and Skull. So whatever it is that you're going to be reaching out for and trying to get people behind, make sure to utilize givingday.rutgers.edu with the great things that they have there, the messaging stuff, the challenges. So make sure to visit it and take a look and look at the different areas that you can support and that people will support, including, like we said, the Scarlet Promise Endowed Grant Fund. So everybody on the call should be receiving a group ambassador link. So within your different club ambassador groups or your teams, you'll be getting a group ambassador link. Those links will be coming to you that you can then share with different people, make sure that they can understand what they need to do, where they need to go in order to make their gift. With those unique ambassador links that you're going to be receiving, we're going to be able to track how your different groups are doing and be able to encourage your groups with the different challenges that we have associated with the day, including for charter groups, the Charter Club Ambassador Challenge, where the most donors get an additional $500 towards the Scarlet Promise Grant or the favorite area of Rutgers that they want to support, or the Group Ambassador Challenge, which is an overall Group Ambassador Challenge, because there's going to be many groups that are going to be trying to promote their funds on Rutgers Giving Day. So the overall one is the top 3 overall groups to get the message out there and inspire donor support. Will get an extra $1,000, $750, or $500 respectively towards the area that they want to support, or to the Rutgers to the Scarlet Promise Grants Endowed Fund. So a couple of ways that you can really get the message out there. Some successful tips in order to kind of get the message. First off is making a gift and then inviting others to join you. If you're going to be putting your name out there to say, I want you to support this, a lot of times donors are going to come back and look at the donor walls of what you're asking them to support to see, hey, did they make a gift? Were they also involved in this? So to make a gift, ask them to invite them to join, something along the lines of Rutgers Giving Day is live, create opportunities for students in financial need by making a gift to the Scarlet Promise Grants, and then you put in your unique ambassador link and the hashtag RUGivingDay. It's important to do the hashtag RUGivingDay so you can be a part of the day, so we can monitor how people are doing and see how things are progressing with Rutgers Giving Day. Also, you want to share the impact. So whatever you might be supporting, and like we said, we're asking for the support of the Scarlet Promise Grants Endowed Fund, but whatever fund you want to support, there's an impact for whatever you do. So for example, the Scarlet Promise Grants is going to help different students, and it helped 11,000 students. As Amanda said, that's an impact that you can share, that you can put into your messaging to make sure that people understand that this money that they're going to be donating is actually going to make a real impact and affect so many different students. Next is throughout the day, there's also hourly and day-long challenges through either social media or different means. And on the website, on givingday.rutgers.edu, you can currently go on there. There's a tab for challenges. You can look through all the different challenges. But for example, the Lunchtime Crunch Time Challenge, which is when Rutgers Giving Day goes live in between the hours of 11 a.m. and 2 p.m., the fund with the most donors will get an additional $2,000 over that time. So you can take advantage of all these different amazing challenges. There's a lot of fun ones too. There's the Spirit Challenge, and ones in which people are going to be putting up pictures of their dogs in different Scarlet gear, or their kids in Scarlet gear. So it's a lot of fun to get associated with those different ones and see what's happening with all those different things going on. And part of it is on social media. You can search the hashtag RUGivingDay to see how people are utilizing these different challenges, or you can take part in the challenges yourself. And then also there's leaderboards throughout the day. Just you want to take a look, see how your group is doing on the different ambassador groups and challenges that we were talking about. Like throughout the day, we're going to be letting everybody know in the different groups understand that the I'm sorry, somebody just sent a message saying a reminder that they need to get gear for their 2 dogs. My apologies, I think I got caught on that one for a second. But throughout the day, we're going to be letting everybody know how they're doing on the different ambassador challenges. So we'll be keeping you up to date so you can keep those competitive juices flowing and say, hey, you know what, we're on first place in the charter club challenge, or we're in first place in the group challenge. Keep us in first place, help us get going, so you can utilize that as well. Couple of just quick reminders before we get to the end of my side of the presentation. The Rutgers University Twitter is kind of going to be the hub where you're going to see majority of the social media stuff going on that day, the messaging going out. So you want to make sure you're following that. Also, the Rutgers University Alumni Association social media channels and the Rutgers University Foundation social media channels, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn will all be having messaging going out too. So you'll be able to see what's happening on Rutgers Giving Day. And you always want to, like I said, you always want to use the hashtag RUGivingDay, or if you're on Facebook, I know hashtags don't work. So you want to use the @Rutgers University Foundation in your posts in order for us to be able to keep track of if you're putting out messaging, if you're using things for challenges and things like that throughout the day. And you look at the hourly challenges. The thing you want to make sure that you're using the hashtag, that you're using the tagging in Facebook in order to make sure that we can see it and we can credit you if you end up winning one of those challenges. And throughout the day, follow, like, share, comment on all the amazing things that are happening throughout the day. It's a lot of fun. It really engages people and it creates a real sense of pride, Scarlet pride, throughout the day. So next steps, first off, this has been somewhat of an abbreviated version of the normal training and everything. If you want the normal training, there is a special ambassador training for the charter groups that's going to be on Monday at 4 p.m. The registration link for that will go out after this meeting. So if you want to be a part of that, I go through a more in-depth training right there to be able to help out with different things. And the recording will also be shared for that as well in the future after we have that training. Also, within your team, within your group, within your team, you want to make sure you have a lead ambassador that is inspiring people, that's motivating people, but also that's strategizing and help to kind of motivate everybody in a certain direction, strategize about the challenges you're going to use. So it's just good to have somebody kind of leading so you can have that vision and focus throughout the day. And like I said, the ambassador unique links will be shared shortly within the next few days. All the ambassador unique links should be shared leading up to Rutgers Giving Day. So you'll be seeing those coming through. And we want you to be ready to inspire on March 24th. Like that's the day to really get the message out there from midnight to midnight. Just really trying to inspire your networks to be a part of it, to support these amazing funds, and particularly the Scarlet Promise Grants Endowed Fund, which has done amazing things for the different students at Rutgers. So throughout the day, I'll be a part of it, and I'll be letting everybody know how they're doing. So I'm looking forward to seeing everybody there. And thank you very much for being here and being part of this this training. I think we're moving on to questions.
Thank you, Kyle. That was very helpful. I'm just pausing to see if anybody adds any questions to the chat box. I just added to the chat box the additional training because I appreciate that you spend through what is normally a little bit longer of a training and allows for more questions. So there's an ambassador team focused training. So a training that's targeted to our alumni leaders who are acting as an ambassador team, either with your charter group or your board cohort or your at-large cohort. And I put that link to register for his training that's targeted to this audience for Monday. I don't think there are any questions. So Kyle, I thank you so much for taking the time to share this with us. We will now transition on to the second part of our program. I also so what we're doing now is we're going to transition to the breakout sessions. And what we did is our staff partners will be facilitating a conversation in each of the breakout sessions. So there will be 6 breakout sessions. And while we wish we could have been shaking hands, Josh, Amanda, Greg, and I were so glad to talk with all of you today. And on the bright side, you didn't have to deal with parking on campus. And it was easy for folks near and far to come together, including across the campuses, RBHS, across states. I see South Carolina, Florida, California, and even Germany. A shout out to Gemma McGowan, who definitely gets the award for joining us from the farthest away. It's got to be going on 11 p.m. in Germany. So thank you for taking the time. We won't be offended if you jump off early, because I know you have work early in the morning. You have to be up early in the morning. We're now going to shift from this part of the program to our breakout rooms targeted to the charter group volunteer leaders. And each of you can self-select by clicking the breakout rooms option, which should be or will soon pop up. You can find at your settings at the bottom of your Zoom screen. You'll then be able to review the different breakouts, and you can click join for the breakout room that's most relevant to your alumni role. We will facilitate the breakouts for a maximum of 30 minutes of conversation time with fellow alumni leaders and your staff partners. We have a breakout room for Camden, hosted by Mary Claire and Margie. We have a breakout room for Newark, hosted by Alex and Terrence. We have a breakout room for Rutgers Biomedical and Health Sciences, hosted by Karen. We have a breakout room for New Brunswick Academic Unit Groups, hosted by Mike Rakowski. We have a breakout room for regional clubs, hosted by Samantha and Masana. Dana wishes she could be here today, but she had to be out. We have a breakout room for interest groups, hosted by Cindy. And a few of us, including myself, will float between the breakout rooms. So you should be able to see the breakout rooms button at the bottom and click join for the breakout room most relevant to you. A link to the recording of this event will be posted on our alumni YouTube channel in the coming days. We'll be sending out a post-event survey. We look forward to your feedback, and it's been a pleasure to see you, even if only virtually. Thank you for all the amazing work you do to keep Rutgers connected.